You have probably heard of Greta Thunberg and Malala Yousafzai, but do you know about Jennifer Keelan? Well, here's a little story so you can know a little bit about her as well. I want to take you back to a moment, to 30 years in the past, to the spring of 1990. Jennifer, as well as a number of other activists, is headed to Washington, D.C. for a protest. Now, Jennifer is no stranger to a protest. She's averaged one protest every 6 months for the last 2 years. She's even been arrested. But if you had seen Jennifer then, it would have been easy to dismiss her. For one, Jennifer was female. 2, she was only 8 years old. And 3, Jennifer used a wheelchair. However, this is the exact reason why she was in Washington, D.C. all those years ago. You see, the world before 1990 made very few accommodations for people with disabilities. Buildings didn't have ramps, sidewalks didn't have curb cuts, and people with disabilities could be refused service just because they were disabled. So on March 12, 1990, Jennifer and 475 other disabled activists went to Washington, D.C. to crawl up the 76 marble steps to the Capitol's West Front. They were begging the government. They wanted the government to pass the Americans with Disabilities Act, which had been stalled in Congress because big business thought it would cost them too much. The climb took Jennifer almost an hour to complete, but she is quoted as saying, "I'll take all night if I have to." The next day, this picture of Jennifer appeared in the news. The protest worked. On July 26, 1990, then President George H.W. Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act into law with these words, "Let the shameful wall of exclusion finally come tumbling down." I share this story with you because I want you to know how powerful you are. Your activism matters. Today, people with disabilities have more access than they've had in the past, but there's still battles to be won. People with disabilities aren't getting the help they need because funding for essential services is being cut. During this time of COVID-19, hospitals can refuse life-saving treatment to patients because they're disabled. Did you know that 20% of the population lives with a disability? Imagine 1 out of every 5 of us not getting the health care we need because of a disability. So, what can you do about it? First off, you can wear a mask if you don't have a disability that would prevent you from wearing one safely. You can stay home, and when you must go out, you can physically distance yourself from any of those that do not live with you. You could also learn more about national disability rights issues.